Hello there, and welcome to Sweet Shot of Time. I'm your host, Steve Barnes, and this week we're taking a break from Dark. We'd normally be doing Dark Episode 5, which is Lost and Found, which I've already watched twice and taken my notes. But this week, which is the week of July 24th, I'm going to be traveling. Lindsey's using this time to do some movie reviews, including Oppenheimer, and get caught up on Dark. So, luckily, today is July 20th, and yesterday, July 19th, the Wheel of Time Season 2 trailer just came out. So we just got to watch it, we being my partner in crime for these Wheel of Time podcasts, the Marsh Land Monster, James McCollum. So I'm going to bring him in now. Ahoy there, James.
I find water and shade amongst the sails. Chips ahoy.
Chips ahoy to you, man.
Because I find the shade because, it blocks out the sun and water drips on there from the sea, and then the salt water gets in my mouth and cleans out my wisdom teeth.
That's right, James. How are you making out with those wisdom teeth? I'm surprised you're here today.
Ooh, baby, it sucks. Don't do it, guys. If a dentist professional says, hey, you need to get these out, say no. I believe it's a scam, and luckily I have insurance.
I'm sorry you got scammed so hard, man, and I'm sorry it's going hard on you. We were just talking before about how I was just easy breezy. When my wisdom teeth came out when I was a kid, they weren't impacted. Yours were impacted pretty good inside your skull, so they were you only got half of them out, too, we got to tell the listeners.
Oh, yeah, only half of them out. And people will be like, well, okay, if this is a scam, who's it a scam for? Like, who's benefiting from this? Well, your witch friends from high school who would, scoop up roadkill? It's free teeth, guys. It's as, whoa, children, we get so many teeth from them. Then in adulthood, it's like, hockey players, I guess. But no, let's create this world where we need to remove specific teeth, and then all of a sudden we have big boy teeth galore.
Wouldn't it be great if you could go to your local Aes Sedai and they could use the one power to pull those teeth out? They could heal them right away. If you had any problems, they live in your village, you can just go. Oh, I'm thinking of wisdoms that live in the village, but you can just go right back to your Aes Sedai again. They'll help you out again. Yeah,
but with my luck, they'd say, sorry, we only got the reds for you.
Hell no.
And I'd be like, God damn it. I'll take a gray over a red here.
Anytime.
I'll take the Browns are the librarians, right?
More or less, yes. The Browns.
All right, well, at least they can find some books.
Right.
But a red or a green is who I'd be set up with. And I'd be like, God damn it. I'll just wait. And they're like, no, now or never.
Yeah, and the Reds will be watching you suffer, and they'll be kind of smirking to themselves you take it, you man.
They're like, oh, I wish you did magic so we could rip more than teeth out of you. Oh, that would be their side scam of we want to rip something from a man.
Right. Well, hey, ripped from the internet yesterday, we have a trailer for season 2 finally, and everybody's hyped about it. Everybody and their warder has a reaction video on YouTube at this point, so I figured we might as well too. Because I'll
tell you this, you can't have, they need to call water H2O. Just be like, let's purify an H2O, or give some mythical name if they keep saying water. Because there's later on, they're like, oh, you are the water. And I was like, wait, Rand's a warder now? And it's like, oh, no, it's the water that cleanses sin away or something.
This is the problem of translating the book to the TV show, because for all these 15 books, we've had no problem differentiating between warders and water. But as soon as the words come out of their mouth and they're on the TV screen, no wonder the book clerks are up in arms, because they're getting their water and their warders mixed up, and their trollops and their trollocs.
And when you start saying words, you kind of say wards, and I was like, wait, there's warders coming out of mouths? Are you talking about spit? Or are you talking about, maybe some spit from a warder who went in your mouth, yay?
We're talking about the trailer, and I was going to ask you about what you thought were the neat moments that stood out to you. And speaking of all the blood, I'm going to start out. I'm going to ask myself that question. Steve, what neat moments stood out to you? that bloody, like long-haired figure that was all creepy and just contorted looking. That was like my big standout moment that I liked the most. So how about you, James?
I like how Rand's in, when you train to go into the outer space and they put you in one of those wheel things that like whips you around, or like the man who is the car in Twisted Metal. He was in one of those things, Rand, on a hillside. That was pretty cool. I think pretty much every single shot, besides that creepy man or individual slinking around all bloody, I'm like, get that out of here. Give me this beautiful high fantasy.
Okay, I hear you. Did you have any surprises that you were surprised by with this trailer? Anything that kind of took you aback?
How much the new Matt looks like the old Matt. That's
true. They did a pretty good job of recasting him. Mm-hmm. And how little they used him in the trailer. He was only like in 2 shots out of this whole thing.
That might be like, what if we get some backlash? We already have to deal with the, what are they called again?
Actors?
No, the people who hate the show.
Oh, book cloaks.
Okay, we already have to deal with those. Now we have to deal with the Matt cloaks.
Right. Barney Harris, the old Matt, actually is in pretty good standing. I saw just today that he is going to be in a horror film, that he's filming a horror film right now that we'll be seeing probably like in the next few months. And this new Matt, he's been well, not anymore, because of course we're in the writer's strike now, and now the actors have joined the strike. But before that, he was, Donald Finn was, doing interviews, and he was very high profile, and I don't know, there's no backlash at this point. I think that would have already happened. And I just don't think that's going to be the case.
Or maybe every single scenario he's in is just like, well, this is a spoiler. This is a spoiler. This is a spoiler.
True.
Matt just has too many good scenes now that we can't really show what he's up to.
There are spoilers hidden in this trailer. I'm not going to give them to you, but I'll point out later like where they are. My surprises that we saw Perrin running around with a little kid. So I'm not sure if that's like a little like Tuathan kid that he's playing with, or like if this is maybe like a fantasy sequence, but Perrin ain't got no kids, but that was cool.
Oh, that just reminded me of the big surprise I saw was Ran of like, dude, I cut my hair and I'm on a solo journey now. Get out of here, dude. But it's like, have you been seeing... It's a baffling first trailer for This Summer I Got Pretty on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
And then the second trailer, I guess the like dudes she's hanging out with, because she says like, and that's the power of cousins. And I'm like, is she like hanging out with her cousins? It seems like these are all the love interests. It's really pushing me to watch this show, because if she's in like love with her cousins, I'm going to be like, the hell is going on here?
So how did we get there from here? Just another surprise that you came across in TV land?
Yes, that's a tangent real quick. But him hanging out and asking the false dragon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, asking him for some advice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Same here. That's right. I should have written that down too.
He says, I'll hold your head and heal you once I know how.
The shots of Egwene surprised me. We see her mostly in white, which makes sense. Obviously she goes to the tower, but we see her like, it looks like she's taken prisoner or something, because she's being beat up and she looks in rough shape, and she's, wearing like some kind of gold.
Steve, I don't know how it is in the books, but it has come out that the Aes Sedai have an intense hazing process.
That's true. You don't know how true that is.
Oh, it is true. Okay, then yeah, they're hazing her, and not the pornographic videos, guys.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go through the trailer. I'm not going to go like scene by scene. I'm just pretty much going by, character to character. I think that'll be, more listenable, I suppose. First off, we got Halsey's Control. That's the song here. And let me tell you, this is a normal Steve Barnes gripe, okay? The trailer came out yesterday, and there was a live stream on the Dusty Wheel that, like, about 700 of us were on, like, watching the live stream, waiting for the trailer to come out. And so, like, you know, to get the first view of the trailer, and everybody's, like, in the comment section saying, this is awesome. So people were saying, what song is this? What song is this? I immediately went to Google, typed in, you know, lyrics bigger than whatever the lyric is, and it popped up Halsey's Control. And so I typed in the comments, Halsey's Control. And then people were like, this song is awesome. What song is this? And I was like, Halsey's Control. This is Halsey's Control. Blah, 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 blah. Then famed YouTuber Daniel Green pops in and is like, hey, this song is Halsey's Control. And everybody's like, oh, thank you, Daniel. Oh, that's great. Wonderful. I know, man. Come on. Give Steve Barnes a little bit of... Everybody loves Daniel Green, okay? He doesn't need another one. Steve Barnes needs it. I need a win, James. But yeah, Halsey's Control, that just dropped yesterday. So I'll start with Rand. He's like the main character of this trailer. Like when I went through like scenes, like scene by scene, who is in the most, I mean, that's basically what I did. And Rand here is in at least 12 shots, whereas other people are like in, you know, between 4 and 5 shots each. So he's definitely the main character in this trailer. We see him standing on the mountaintop with some cool clothes on. And if you freeze that frame and like zoom in on the back of his jacket, there's a brief spoiler right there, because like the crest of the city is pretty plain if you zoom in on it. We see him cuddling with new character Lanfear. She's that woman with the long black hair, and he's like cuddling up with her. Do you remember, you told me a while back, you were like Rand and his 5 like loves or something, and I couldn't figure out who the 5th was, and I guess it's going to be this Lanfear. Yeah, why do you say good? I didn't know if you were like, I hate Egwene, Min, and everybody else it's going to be, you know. Same. And that's why we're doing this, just to remind everybody of the names and the characters. And you, James, more or less you. That's what I'm doing here, is reminding you and just giving everybody else the benefit to hear it too. Moraine insists on guiding Rand and protecting him. She says that at one point. So we know that Moraine's looking out for our boy. This is one of my favorite shots. We get like a slow-mo shot slow-mo shots are cool anyway, but when you're wearing like a baby blue kimono, I mean, that's worth it. And that's what he's wearing, is a baby blue kimono for some reason or another, which I like that shot.
It's probably because he's about to get into a hot spring.
Maybe.
Or a hot tub. Why not?
We see him with the yellow bands of power around him, which we think is like drawn from the fire element, perhaps. We see him grabbing Moraine by the throat, which we don't like that. That's not good. She's protecting you, Rand. Again, he gets wrapped in weaves, it looks like, by Lanfear. Again, we see another shot with him with Lanfear, and he's got like the yellow weaves around him. You mentioned this one. He asks Logain, I want to know how to control it. So, yeah, looking to Logain for some help. That's really cool. Like, Logain's not in jail.
If you zoom out, they are looking at a wiggle worm.
Yes.
One of those Wet and Wild wiggle worms. It's like, I want to know how to control it. And he's like, you can't. That's the nature of it. You just let it thwip around and cool you off in the summer.
Speaking of being cool in the summer, we get a shirtless shot of Rand in a doorway. Looks like
you were going to say Demi Lovato's here.
She's here. We see another shot of him like he's hooded. He's got some kind of hood on, kind of looking like an ailman right there. And then, of course, the chain to the wheel shot. And he says to Swan, I'm tired of being a spoke in the wheel. And she says, you're not a spoke in the wheel. You're the water that turns the wheel itself. So we got big hopes for Rand this next season.
Mm-hmm. And it ends with him in that wheel. He goes, "This metal's about to get twisted."
Oh, just in time for Twisted Metal, starring Mike Mitchell.
Yeah.
All right, next up with the most scenes, we've got Moraine, or I guess I should go by like the main characters, because Moraine's the next biggest character in this trailer. She starts it out. She says, "Everybody has a choice. Every choice has a consequence," which definitely reminds me of like modern day where you got these guys, especially up here in Virginia, talking about my freedoms. You can't take my freedoms away. It's like nobody's trying to take away your freedoms, but there are consequences for the things that you do. Mm-hmm. So you just have to deal with that. That's what Moraine's reminding us of.
And I'm over here saying you can't take my free form away, okay?
Okay, what's that? What's free form?
You know, it used to be ABC Family.
No, I don't know.
Okay, ABC Family switched up and now it's Freeform.
Okay, don't take James's Freeform away.
Yeah, guys, I need me to watch the 700 Club is still on there.
Oh, dang. Like, is that still like new episodes or are they showing old episodes?
No, it's new episodes.
Dang, wonder what episode they're on by now. Like 700. Good answer. Okay, we see Moraine. We see her in the bath, but she looks sad. That's not good. We see her like in a village somewhere. We also see a shot of her. Yeah, an eyeless Fade like hisses at her. She says something along the lines of, "You didn't defeat the Dark One last time. You just set him free," which I think is a line from season 1, actually. Do you remember that?
It could. Maybe that's from the teaser trailer we saw. Oh no, yeah, she also says that, but it's a thing that you're probably telling a lot of people.
Yeah,
like sorry, we fucked up. We fell into his ploy.
See, we see her kissing her girlfriend Swan, or I just say girlfriend because I know that they're a couple, but I don't know what they consider each other. And then
Smush pals.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are. Pillow friends is what they call them in the Wheel of Time world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pillow friends.
Okay.
And then the last thing we see is she's yelling at somebody and like her version of yelling. And she says, "You have no conception of the power they wield." Typical Moraine stuff. Okay, continuing on. Next, we got Swan, the aforementioned Swan. And the only thing that every other thing that has to do with Moraine or Rand has already been mentioned. But she also says, "You can't control him" to somebody. And she looks like the Antler Queen. Like, have you watched Yellow Jackets yet?
No.
Okay, well, there's a character that's like a fan-created character called the Antler Queen, and that's exactly what Swan looks like with that big heap of bones and crap on her head when she's sitting there. And you got a kitty cat behind you. I love when I'm podcasting with you, James, and I see a cat jump in the frame. It's like the best thing in the world to me.
When Corwin was on, it will be clipped for Mostly Speakin Sentai, but I'm glad it was filmed because all of a sudden Henry jumps into frame and Nicole's like dealing with whatever he is doing and Corwin's trying to say something and then he's trailing off and then there's silence. I was like, "Are you distracted by the cat?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. That cat comes on screen. I will not know what to say." And I was like, "Yeah, this used to happen all the time when people would come over to record, and Franklin would either just come in, flop down in the middle of the room and distract us all, or if it was getting close to his dinner time, would just come in and scream until he was fed." He was a great cat.
Do you have any back episodes like of him screaming by any chance?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of from like the first episodes and also of This Movie's Gay. Hit It and Crit It, I would edit out because people would be like, "Wait, is there a cat here now?" Because it's, story driven.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of him. You can hear him go.
During like Mostly Speakin Sentai, as you're saying, early episodes of that.
Yeah.
I get a plug for your show in here. All right, next up we got Perrin. We see him. He's knocked out by some kind of like sentient blast. So we know he's doing some battling. We see him riding a horse, looking pretty stately. You see his eyes turn like that yellow golden color again. like we saw when he got mad. That's going to become kind of a normal thing. And we saw Hopper. You get to see Hopper for the first time. That wolf that was by his side. You see a wolf.
That's like your dog.
I'm pretty positive that's Hopper. At least I'm crossing my fingers that it is, because I'm looking forward to meeting Hopper.
What if they changed his name and it's Hooper?
Oh my God. I'd be so angry.
And
I'd be a book cloak. I would be a book cloak at that point. Let's see. We see him smiling and playing with a kid, like I said before, which I think could be a dream or something like that.
Or his inner self.
He was having too much fun. I don't know. He wouldn't have that much fun with himself, I don't think. He's a boring guy.
Or the child he never had.
Oh, okay. All right. But we do see him battling a guy in white, and he has a real mad face on. So that's a big one. Is the battle with the guy in white. Everybody's got to remember that one.
It could be an Aes Sedai.
Could be. It's a guy in white, so it's probably not.
Yeah, it's probably one of those guys that we've seen who hate the Aes Sedai.
Yeah, the white cloak dudes. That's what I was thinking. What?
I've been hearing what they've been saying, and you know what? They bring up some good points.
Yeah. James, we'll talk after this podcast. I got a few things I want to talk to you about. For right now, we didn't see much of Matt. We see Matt looking down at the dagger, and we know that last season, Moraine kind of freed him from like the dagger possession that he was under. Mm-hmm. But then we see him at this table here, staring down at the dagger, looking hungry. And then we see him stabbing downward at some point with a spear or a staff. And
maybe he's looking hungry because slightly as they pan out, you'll see like a chalupa. So he's like, I'm going to use this knife for cutlery.
Let's see. Next up is Egwene. We see her mostly in white. We see her practicing with the one power. We see her getting hazed. She's battling the Ascension. But yeah, it looks like something's going on because she's wearing like those gold clothes, and she's like, her eyes are all red, her face is all beat up, and she's like looking upset. Let's just say she's looking upset. We see her and Nynaeve hugging, and they're both wearing white robes when they're hugging. And a quote we hear her say to Elaine, who we only see Elaine once. She's the girl with the straight red hair. They only show her real briefly. And Egwene says to her, "If our friends are in trouble, why would you ever stay here?" Referring to what? I don't know.
Probably their friends being in trouble.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a good synopsis. Nynaeve actually has more scenes than I thought. She has a pretty good paragraph here. She says to Egwene, "No one should have that much power." We see this is interesting to me.
I think she's talking to Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Too much power.
Yeah.
Let's see. We see her being led to like this big, huge, like stone archway, and like she's wearing white. Mm-hmm. And then later on in the same trailer, we see her coming through that exact same archway, looking bloodied. I think
shoot.
That's when the hazing. That's when the hazing started. Bet you anything. We see her with some bloody hands at one point. We see her like standing, like dressed like a wisdom, like in her old clothes, and she's like screaming. And then we see her sword fighting. Yeah, she's sword fighting with two opponents at one point. That's typical Nynaeve stuff. Together... Oh, it's a quote from her. "Together we faced the impossible, but now we're in separate corners of the world." Something else Nynaeve says, I guess, which clues us in that they're all going to be scattered.
Which usually I'm like, don't, but it's time for them to learn the specific skill sets that they need to take down the dark one. I apologize for hiccuping.
It's okay.
And I think season 3 they'll get together and take out this motherfuck.
Hopefully so. All right, Leandrin is showing up a lot. You remember the she's the blonde-haired, red.
Oh yeah,
Aes Sedai. We see her a lot here. We see her creeping around in a black hood, like looking suspiciously over her shoulder. up to no good. Do you remember
I was going to say maybe it's not up to no good and she's visiting the person that she, in quotes, knows and was hidden about.
Good call. Probably so. Another weird thing is, do you remember last season? You remember everything. So I know you remember when Steppen came up and he kissed the ring and then he put the ring into like the recycling Aes Sedai pool of fire. We see Leandrin standing right in front of that same thing, except it's at nighttime. So that's an interesting scene.
Oh, maybe she's giving it up. She's tossing her own in.
Or maybe she's in there trying to fish around to find the one that Steppen threw in there and hoping she can find a remnant.
Wait, well, I mean, it gets melted, right?
Right.
She's just trying to scoop it out. She has a yellow on standby. She's like, yeah, I know my hand's going to get really messed up. You need to be here to heal.
That's right. And she says something interesting, too. She says, it's not always the most powerful who write history. It's those who survive. So she's talking like Churchill here. We don't see a lot of Lan. We see him sword fighting a little bit, and we see him getting yelled at by Moraine. And that's all we see of Lan in this trailer so far. Do you know who we see none of? We see absolutely zero of one of our favorite guys. Do you remember not seeing anybody in this trailer?
Oh, man, I wish I could remember his name. I know it's the Ogier.
Yeah, that's right. Loyal. We know he lives because we've seen screenshots of him in season 2 and during like all kinds of stuff. But I think somebody posted a shot where like it was like this overhead shot of like 100 people and they have like a little arrow and they're like, there's Loyal right there.
Hashtag Loyal lived.
Yes. Well, yeah, we already know that he lived. You can't get through that Ogier skin.
Not with knives, but with words you can.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Back season 1, James, one of your aspirations was to be the Dark One's assistant, was to work for the Dark One and to be his assistant. Is that still kind of like what your plan is, or have you changed up since last year?
I don't like that he's all like dapper and handsome. I'd feel, I mean, if that really is him, I'd feel a little self-conscious around him.
Yeah, you'd have to dress up.
If all of a sudden the Dark One's like a powerful lady, I'd be like, oh, of course. There's no. That's why they didn't make the Dark One a powerful lady. Everyone would be like, why would we go against this person?
Well, the Dark One dude that we got, we see a few shots of him. We see him disappear while he's smirking, so we know he's still out there and he's being cheeky. We see him at one point surrounded by like 2 giant of those yellow bands of the One Power. Don't know if he's the victim of that or if he made that. We see him... Well... No, I think that's all. No, we do see him. We see him hanging out with those weird new Senshin characters, which I'll talk about in a minute. Like those people that are in gold and they wear like all the refinery and they're all fancy.
Hey, I think a cat just threw up. Let me make sure.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Please don't be. Yeah, sometimes when a cat shows up on a podcast, it's adorable and we love it. And then sometimes they throw up and you have to go clean up after them. You're a good man, James. Everything good?
Yeah.
Okay. You wouldn't be here if that wasn't the case. We were talking about the Dark One guy and he was hanging with the Senshin. And yeah, he was standing up there right beside them. Like he's like an honored guest of the Senshin. You see like one scene of like that weird lady with the weird gold mask on and he's like right next to her, like her right-hand man. He says something along the lines of, you have something inside you that calls for blood. Heck yeah. And then the Dark Friends Social. Did you see like the round table with all the people sitting around it and it looks very shaded? He is like, I think he's the only person that's not in a cloak, like in that shot. And if you freeze frame that shot, turn the lighting up, it has so many spoilers, and pretty much everybody in that room has already been identified among the Wheel of Time community.
I was pretty sure, like, oh, they're all in cloaks because they're people we already know or people we will meet.
Right. Yep. So, yeah, if anybody wants to have some fun, go ahead and do that. Or just look up that Reddit thread and get spoiled completely.
I was going to say, yeah, or if you want to just spoil reveals.
Let's see. Then we had that bloody long-haired figure. Already talked about them. Don't know if it's a male or female. I'm guessing female. You said male, so maybe it's I don't know.
Of what?
Non-binary. Then we see another new character, Avienda. She's the one woman with the dreadlocks that you see fighting towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond them, we don't have any other named characters. We just see a lot of the Senshin. We see that one dude that has like the scarred up face, and he's a Senshin guy too. And he says, the whole world will be ours. He's got that golden box, and he opens it up, and you can see like there's the horn inside. And it looks really fancy. We think that guy is Turok, we think is who that is, but we're not 100% sure. Or at least I'm not 100% sure. Other people are 100% sure. I'm not. We see those Senshin have... I covered my mouth on purpose, but not on purpose. They have those things over their mouths, and I'm sure you had to have noticed those people they look like pacifiers or something that they have over top of their mouths.
I think.
Okay. At one point, there's like 4 of them. They're in a row. They had the things over their mouths, and they do like a power blast, and that's when Perrin gets blasted over in this trailer. And then last season, when they came on that boat, they were like in the very last scene of the last episode, and they came on that boat. They made the weaves go by, and they had the things over their mouths. We believe that those are they're called Damani, and they're basically like slaves of the Senshin. And they don't have the mouth thing in the book. I think that's a show thing, which is fine. The book looks don't think it's fine, but I think it's fine. Although they look like pacifiers. They look a little silly to me, but I'll get used to them.
Maybe they're going to a rave.
Maybe. Let's see. What else do we see? We see a couple of daytime battles with Egwene, like she's fighting in the daytime for whatever reason. I mean, most of the battles we see are nighttime, but we see a daytime shot with her. And then we just see a lot of shots of them, of those Senshin, and we see like their armor is really intricate. Their swords are very intricate, and all their accessories are golden, and they're just basically like a very rigid, rich society. And that's it. That's pretty much everything that happens in the trailer. We went over every scene. James, what me and Lindsey have been doing at the end of our podcast, besides plugs, of course, is I want to start doing this with you too, because it changes every episode. We name off who was our favorite and our least favorite character of what we just watched. And in Dark, very often, like our favorite character will become our least favorite character the next episode and vice versa. So I kind of want to do that here too. So just based on this trailer, what you just saw, who is your favorite?
Favorite was Meringue. Least favorite, do I say that as well?
Sure.
Was Rand.
Least favorite was Rand?
Yeah,
Why?
He's like, oh, the summer I turned pretty. Get out of here, dude.
Well, why is Moraine your favorite? What makes her a standout?
She's I guess, no, I saw Perrin a lot. I'll say Perrin. Just the only one that I remember seeing more than a flash of.
Okay, all right. And no to Rand, all right. I think I'm most intrigued and most interested in Leandrin right now. That's who I was really into seeing, and I like the shots that we saw of her. Not that she's my favorite, but that's who I'm most into, I guess. And least, it's got to be Matt. He didn't do anything interesting at all. And even though
he's looking at a chalupa.
He's going to look at a chalupa, and that's pretty much it. Then he's going to have a tummy ache and go to bed. I mean, I'm expecting a lot from Matt because... You know from Shelby, he's like Shelby's favorite character. He's a lot of people's favorite character. But in this trailer, what we just saw, I didn't see crap, so he's my least favorite. Mm-hmm. That'll change, hopefully, episode 1. But yeah, episode 1 starts on September 1st. They're going to drop 3 episodes on us immediately. We're not going to recap all 3 episodes immediately. We'll just do it week by week. So we'll start, with our recap sometime after September 1st. But until then, James, what do you got going on? Do you have any plugs or anything you've been working on besides those wisdom teeth?
Hey guys, listen to my other podcast. Go to mlmpod.com to find out more information about those. Head over to patreon.com/mlmpod for exclusive stuff in the form of Mostly Speakin Sentai After Dark, where we discuss more adult-themed tokusatsu. Oh, check out the final episodes of Death from Above, a Sam and Max podcast, which Steve was on. That was a real fun episode. And then we also got Engaged with Nicolas Cage, and this existed. It's just weekly. It's real fun. That's the best way to support us. Or listen to my music under Marsh Land Monster. Always have new stuff coming out wherever music is found. Hit me up on Spotify. And a new single, Anal Dentata, coming out in October. And Steve will be a part of it, I hope.
Yes. I've already changed up the bass line and got a new drum pattern going. So yeah, for my plugs, you're listening to one of them, this podcast. My band is Intro Void, and you can find us on Spotify and all those streamers and stuff. I really love feedback. We've been getting a lot of feedback lately, and I like it. Last week we had 3 letters.
Damn.
Hit us up on Instagram, or because we're at Sweet Child of Time Pod. My personal Instagram is Barnestown, or you can hit us up at our Gmail, which is sweetchildoftimepod@gmail.com. And yeah, like James says, I'm working on a song for Anal Dentata. I was afraid to say Anal Dentata on Lindsey's podcast. So I just said, I'm working on a song with James, and I'm not going to say the name of it. And that's all that I said.
Also, hey, you're listening to this. Go to Mostly Speakin Sentai. Steve was just on talking about Guar's Phallus in Wonderland.
That was I think that was one of the funnest podcast experiences I had. That was a lot of fun. I think because it was live too.
Yeah, and we came out hard of being like, I think we need to ban you.
And find out why. Listen to Mostly Speakin Sentai.
Yeah. Wherever podcasts are found.
So, James, I almost always say, may you always find water and shade. And I hope you always find water and shade. But I want to be sincere, and I hope you recover from those wisdom teeth soon. I hope you get to healing and feeling better.
Thank you, sir. Back at ya.
Thank you. And from Sweet Child of Time to everybody, find water and shade. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.